Hello, man. Hello, McTells. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's important to most of us, and I'll start this off. I think Joey's in a phone call right now, so he'll let me know when he's ready. And I'm going to start off with the monologue, and I'm going to start off with the important subject and important topic that we've been seeing this week, and it's going to be a difficult topic, but we'll try to share it and look at it. And like always, make Tao go your own way. All your sins are forgiven. Today we're going to talk about moral codes. And that's always difficult when you talk about moral codes. Today I'm going to start with a few facts and figures. Are you in, Joey?
Are we live? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're live. I can hear it. Everything. I was going to start out with a few facts and figures. So just bear with me on my monologue for a minute, and we'll get going here. Where is it at? Where did I put my footnotes? Okay, in America last year there was 16,425 murders. 13.5% of those murders were gang related. It was homicide. Typically encountered 13% of these homicides come to about 1,216. We've had the recent Asian murders in Atlanta. I can give you the facts on Asian murders in America is up 833%. But when you think about this, there's only been 48. They're up from 3 to 48. We're going to talk a little bit about morality. We're going to talk a little about what you see. We're going to talk about hypocrisy. 680 children in America have been murdered by their parents. 70% of those children are murdered by their mothers. That roughly works out if you work this out, 70% would be 0.70 divided by 680. I'm not going to do the math in my head. It's roughly about 420 a year. 460, somewhere around 460. That is 10 times the amount of Asian murders in America. 1,216 gang-related murders, which we know comes from fatherlessness in America. Gangs replace the father in the family. It gives a structure to society. That was 1,266, which is somewhere around 1,200% or something like that. If you want to do the math on that, that's okay. Give me the math on that, and then we're going to talk about violence in the family. We're going to talk about morality codes in relationship to hypocrisy. There's a certain standard of morality in the family. There's this order. First of all, we're going to talk about what's perceived as the purity in the family. The male family member has to present himself pure as the protector, provider, and there's an honor code in our society that's built in, where if you don't stand up to these measures, you can get put in jail. You will get obviously a divorce. You will become the patriarchal support of that family, which is parentage. The parentage is fatherhood. Fatherhood is you are the responsible party. Well, we're going to talk about there's a trade-off in morality and monogamy. There's always this, the first thing I'd like to talk about is there's a perceived monogamy in America that's been replaced by polygamy in America. And polygamy in America is 40% of females are outside of the restraints of what they see as the restraints of religion and marriage. They just they're under Health and Human Services. They're being taken care of. 40% of females in America have baby daddy number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and fatherhood is attached to that by these same moral standards. There's a certain honor code attached to that there's my sound is good, I suppose. Okay, there's a certain comparative overview to these things, and I'll read from the bottom now. Men versus women, the moral latitude that is extended to one gender in polygamy versus violence and honor. They say that if a female offends the monogamy laws, then violence will occur. That's always the precedent argument. But the antecedent argument is, and that would also be that an honor code of monogamy was violated. Now, polygamy, and there was this pre-polygamy thing, which all women can experience polygamy in their lives, and men are still stuck with the honor code of monogamy. Now, this gets very difficult in here. We have these hypocritical principles that we are fathers, and we're still bound by categorical, what Kant would call categorical imperatives, or gospel. There's conscience, there's intuition, there's a recognized advantage of utilitarianism that's in this, and what we're talking about is the autonomy of the male. And but in moral society, we are still stuck with these moral codes that were decided under a categorical imperative of Kant in the 1700s, which we abide by. Now these things for the female, they're extended a general latitude in our society. One gender is extended the latitude of polygamy. The male is stuck with the monogamy and the codes that go along with this, which is a very 1950s view of how things work. Now, I hear a lot of the argument from the MGTOWs is we want to go back to the 50s, but we can't go back. And what they're really saying is they want their housewife, they want their, in trade-off, the trade-off for these morality codes would be that she is monogamous. But that does not happen nowadays. And our laws, which follow social norms, generally represent the idea that father is still in it. And father means the responsible party. Now, last time I checked, I can't get pregnant. Now, there's a certain order which these things fall in. There's we can't look at these things out of the temporal order which they fall, and that's what we're going to talk about, the temporal order today of monogamy. We're going to talk about the temporal orders of how these things fall. We're going to talk about mating, which we usually don't talk about, and stuff like that. We're going to talk about the simps, probably. We're going to talk about the family violence thing. We're going to talk about why is this moral latitude of 480 extended to the female, and then we see in the Asian culture, there in the Asians in America, 48. The number of 48 is considered wow, but that doesn't even methodologically answer any of the questions. It doesn't even match the demographics. There's some hypocrisy in these things. We're going to talk about female responsibility, as in father means responsible party and babies, and we still have to abide by these moral codes. We're going to talk about honor. We're going to talk about loyalty, the structures of a broken system. And today I have Joey. Joey's a school teacher from all over, and he will be talking. And I'm Professor Trav, morality coach. And I hope all your days are good, MGTOW, and go your own way. And let's talk about morality. How do you feel about that, Joey?
Well, there's definitely a double standard.
There's a double standard involved with that, yes. And it's an observable double standard, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you see it with this football player, Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that. I guess now it's up to 12 women have accused him.
Yeah, wasn't there we were discussing that earlier, and there was a temporal thing that went on in that didn't make sense. Houston was trying to trade him before anybody knew about this, and then so they knew about these, and then all of a sudden 12 Me Too accusations come out.
Yeah.
After you're going to sign a big contract.
Yeah. There's something fishy going on there.
There's something fishy. There's a temporal order that doesn't it seems more like a manufactured temporal order rather than something that should have came out years ago and nothing was said about it. So we have to start asking moral questions about that.
It's like almost like they were spying on him or something. They knew he had this weakness or whatever. And
Yeah.
not that it's a weakness, it's just a biology thing probably. And he's trying to play it safe by just going to a massage therapist. But you can imagine a woman doing that, going to a massage therapist and acting that way, that nothing would have happened. So
Right. If there's I've often said Group X, let me put up Group X here, my brand. Group X is what we talk about a lot. Group X is an asexuality. Asexuality is the default sexual position of most males. We don't do that. We don't talk about that. We don't do those things. But what that means is the most violated people in the world are males when they refuse to involve themselves. We know that because we're MGTOWs. We refuse to involve ourselves in that stuff. And then we got the simp culture, which is probably pretty big, which is 80 to 90% of males, but I would say 10% of males are fall in the Group X culture, where they just don't do them things out of the correct places. Them things are for your bedroom. Them things are for not for people to know about. Them things are generally for mating and children's stuff and everything. But what if a woman violates that? She's looked at as wow, it's the whole slut shaming culture, isn't it? Like, ooh, you're shaming me for my moral infidelities.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of horse shit,
Yeah, and I thought with this whole thing with the Asian violence lately, and even what's her name, the lady runs YouTube here, she chimed in on that, like there was some big problem, and it's not a big problem.
No, it's not a big problem. That's a was that a spa too? That was in a spa, right, or something?
Yeah.
That's an organized crime thing. I mean, it should be obvious that organized crime runs like 80-90% of these massage parlors. I mean, let's just be honest. So if someone didn't get paid off, somebody disrespected somebody, and then they sent out a message, and that's all that is. That's not, the Asian culture is the most, they're not very violent at all.
No, there's very few, 48 cases. I was looking at the incel murder. We talked about that. And the incel murders are 43 in a total population of 16,000. What was the number I gave? 840 or something like that. Total murders in America a year. So that's a minute subsection of 001. And then when they talk about incel, and that's the kind of that's what we're talking about, these honor codes, and that all of a sudden there's all these incels, and there's not all these incels doing that. There's very few incels that actually do that. There's very few children that are actually murdered by their fathers. There's very few. I said rape, if you wanted to see real, the FBI statistics, if you go over it, is 1,686 to 1. It's 1,686 to 1 or something like that. You're probably never gonna what was it? It was that was the percentage of chance. It was like 1.0 in a percentage of 100,000 people, which you're probably never going to meet a rapist in your life. But if you talk about it on like the campus murders or something like that, or the campus rapes and everything, it's like 1 out of 4. No, it's 1 out of 686 if you do the math from the FBI convicted of, and that's convicted. All this other stuff is just accusational. I don't care about accusation. I care about actual convictions. You'll probably never know a person in your community, and I don't know nobody in my community. We don't act like that in my community. There's no big. You can walk around here at night, but the way that media projects this thing is you can't walk around here at night because there's all these rapists running around, and that's what I used to say about my mother. She would watch the shows, and then she'd look out and like, oh, there's rapists out there, and I said, Mom, there are no rapists. She would walk up and down these streets every single day, and never even.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
So it just doesn't happen. But in that is this idea, and this idea, there's moral codes, and men are doing all these things we're not doing, which puts on moral restrictions on us.
Yeah, that rape thing's a bunch of nonsense, because if there is anyone like that in the community, they just get their asses beat, and you know what I mean? The community I grew up in, we didn't have any of that stuff. Like, you never saw it. Like I said, and if there ever was, that person would get their ass beat.
Yeah, that's what generally happened when I was growing up. If there was a pedophile or someone bothering kids or someone that acted in that general way, he would get ostracized from the community in a harsh way.
Right. They would be asked to leave the town, or they'd end up in a river somewhere, you know. And, and I'm not even exaggerating that river part. Like where I grew up, you know, all these Italians where I grew up, I ain't gonna put up with that shit, you know. But the thing is, it doesn't really exist anyway. Like, you don't act that way because they know not to act that way. They know there's going to be consequences.
Right. There's consequences. We talked about the sociopathic versus the psychopathic and sociopathic people. These people are generally people that can be taught, and the moral codes in our society teach you that if you do this behavior, this will be the end result. It's going to be jail or even death or violence if you do that. Now, we look back at the first one, the moral code of the moral code that we used to have of monogamy within relationships. So there's something screwy in there, isn't there? It jumps all time and sense. There's this importance of sexual purity, which is, okay, you're going to honor this perceived responsibility of sexual purity if you're a female, simply because we want to know that the children are ours. And so there's rules in there, but we have this contradictory sort of neurotic codes of baby mamas in our society, and that's okay. Now the simps like that and the PUAs like that because everybody gets their turn on her, but it's conflicting to the laws that do exist, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about reality and the laws that do exist in our society, and the laws in our society is you're responsible, even though you can't have a baby. Aren't those laws a little outdated?
Yeah, it's the trad cooks. They can't get it out of their own way, you know.
Yeah, it's the trad cons. The trad cons want to keep these 1950s laws, and they were these laws were set up in America right around a lot of our laws were set up right after Reconstruction and the Civil War for reason, because polygamy was a part of that. Polygamy was the Southern culture wasn't putting up with the Mormons at that time, so there was a war that started, the Mormon War there, that probably incited the whole Civil War. And we settled two things. We settled slavery and we settled polygamy, and we said, no, we can't do this in society because we have these honor codes. And it would work better if we don't violate those honor codes. But since 1972, when they got rid of the Morrill Act, I think it was the Morrill Act. Someone can look that up if they want. The Morrill Act was the Polygamy Act, and that's gone now. And most of the time you can have baby daddy number 1, 2, and 3, but baby daddy number 1, 2, 3, and 4 represent slaves, and that's why we had the slavery thing. So you can't have a slave. You can't have a polygamous situation, because in a polygamous situation, under our moral codes, would call for slavery. So you can't have these hypocritical laws.
But the South, they're okay with slavery, you know, because no, they are. I mean, that's their history, and then they're all Christians. Most of them are Christians, so they're already backwards.
Yeah, we can see this intertwines with Christianity and their idea of you can have a slave. They want a wife slave.
That's right.
And the wife wants a male slave, so it's a trade-off in slavery.
I mean, I talked to somebody who's been a Christian a long time, and he was defending the slavery thing. I said I was trying to show him how the Bible is just a myth, and he was defending the slavery thing. I said that's loving your neighbor when you have your. He says, well, at that time, like they try to defend slavery. I go, you're defending slavery, and then I caught himself. he kind of caught himself, finally, like after me like clarifying that for him.
Right. Now I look at a job. Jobs are jobs. And when you're talking about slavery in America, you're talking about modern day slavery. Every society needs 20 to 30% of people that generally do the work. And the work is not lighter than air work. The work is actually agricultural work, making the farm plows, getting the food to us. The energy is a part of that. Getting your energy, communications is a part of that. Men do all these jobs. And 20 to 30% of our society has to do hard labor. And how we dictate the division of labor is underneath these polygamy and slavery laws. And you're going to, as long as you're making a decent amount of money and you're making a living, you're not going to call it slavery. But as soon as that changes within the moral codes and you become a slave, a secondary slave to the female, or a secondary slave to the cultural law that says you still have to be a father and you can't abort fatherhood. You can't say, no, I'm not a father no more. The judge told me I'm not a father no more, but he didn't really mean it, because what he meant is you're going to be the responsible party still.
Yeah.
And that's a hypocritical law. And that's when these laws get violated. And we have a whole nation we're having this gender discussion now, because everybody can see the observable truth of these violations.
Yeah, and the corporations do it too, with the slavery. How they treat their employees.
Right. We have union busting now, and we have the in Ohio, we have these places where you go now. A lot of the young kids sign up for these jobs where they can circumvent the union by outsourcing the job to another. You get a job with this company, and the company becomes they'll fill the position to the other companies, which takes the responsibility off of it because these are hard labor slavery jobs. These are the 20 to 30% of society which is doing the agriculture, the production, making chemicals, which is very dangerous. With these things, the corporations violate. They don't have to provide aerators. They don't care if their employees get cancer from the chemicals. They don't care if your back gets hurt. They don't care if your fingers get cut off. So we see this hypocrisy growing, and people are like, my jobs. And I say, you know what you're asking for when you're saying that? You're saying you're the best slave.
Right. That's right.
You're saying, and that is disgusting to me. Every time I hear someone like, we need our jobs, or the big thing comes up with is with the people at our borders. They're coming in and they're saying, oh, these people are taking our jobs.
Yeah.
You're just saying you're a better slave. You're a better slave than them. That's what you're saying, and that shouldn't even never happen in America. But we violated these moral codes. We've so violated these codes that it's become so absurd that it's now in the general culture that people cannot see these violations.
No, they don't pay attention. They don't have the critical thinking skills. They're just brainwashed. They're all brainwashed. It starts in school too. It's like, you get. I'm taking some of these business classes, and it's disgusting because 90% of the class or more, like 95%, all they care about is the grade. They don't care about what they learn. They don't care. Like, God forbid you question the professor too. It's like, are you have comments that are against what the professor's teaching there, or it's a different view or whatever. Like, so it's like you're programmed at an early age to just kind of like, that's your master. The teacher's your master kind of thing. It's like the slavery concept. It still applies even to major universities.
Right. Jordan Peterson does that in the suffrage. He's like, you have to suffer to get this degree. You have to suffer through these things, and you have to suffer through school. There was a solitude. The prophet says, the question is why is there morality? He says first you need to have a minimal stable situation to have morale. Yeah, well, that goes back to the question of, is it wrong to steal bread from the mouth of decadence? If you're too poor and you can't afford, or if let's put it this way, if there are not enough jobs and to meet the needs of all the people in a minimal sense, and they can all have their needs met, then the society is not fulfilling the minimal stable situation, and they don't. There is not enough jobs by far now. There's not enough. The pay's not good enough. It should be somewhere around $12.75 is a basic minimal living. They say 15. I don't know if that's true. I think it's right around $12.68. We talk about rent all the time. I think rent is part of the English old structure of a totalitarian king government, and there should not be rent.
No.
People should
taxes, property taxes too.
There should not be property taxes. Other people that put the whole community in slavery so they can live in better houses than the people in the slavery situations and go to works in these monolithic government buildings that are well kept and very nice, and it's lighter than work air. It's lighter than air work. No, there shouldn't be those kind of situations. Rent is one of the biggest violations in this country. You're saying there's a class that's allowed to take money from another class that doesn't have. And the only reason the class doesn't have is because we have laws that, what are they? The company store laws that gives the properties back to the rich through the taxes they're taking, and it puts people in arrears, and they take the houses, and it's a cycle that generates back through company store. So when you start moving companies around, the same people that are invested in the real estate are the companies. They start moving companies around. They get you obligated to a housing situation. Like I always use L'Oreal. L'Oreal came to us a place around the corner here, and they are 1,200 employees. 5 years later, after everybody had the structure and the community set up, they left. But they were highly invested in the community, so the houses in the real estate of the community, so the houses started going back to the same company that left, and they started taxes stopped being paid because the major employer in the community left. So that's how that works. It's a company store policies where the government becomes part of that, and that was ended in 1920, 1930, where you couldn't do that. You couldn't extend credit. You know what slavery is? Slavery is what is it? Is credit, where you owe somebody something and you have to work for that what you owe. And if you put people in the rears in that credit situation, that's slavery. That's how they got slavery through the years. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand, because we're a lot of people now are overextended on their credit, and they don't understand how that is a form of slavery. That's how they're going to get you to continue working and become part of that 20 to 30% that's needed to serve them dinners, to be the ushers and the waiters and and so they have a better life, but they don't seem to be living in the same communities that we live. They don't seem to be under the same laws of poverty that most people are, and so there is no stable situation here. Now, if there was a minimal wage or a minimal earnings, like Bernie Sanders talks about, I can see, you can make the argument that we all have to do this. We all have to comply by the morality codes of taxes and these things, but there is no stable situation.
Yeah, I think he was probably just false hope kind of candidate. Yeah, I don't know. I don't put any hope in these politicians. You just kind of figure it out. You got to figure it out for yourself.
Right. One man can't change the whole system.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think now the better move is just don't even get involved with buying property, and just and that's the advantage of being a MGTOW. You better off probably just getting a.
Do you think how hypocritical that is to what had happened in 1776, our revolution?
Yeah.
What was the revolution against English about? It was about them taxing us.
Right.
Taxing us.
That's the story they tell us. We don't even know that.
It's about them charging rent to live on property that wasn't theirs; it was ours.
Yeah, we'll go with that story that they taught us, but who the hell knows if that's even true? But yeah, I mean, taxes are just deadly. They just
Yeah, taxes are too much now.
It's just too high, especially given the, like you said, given the economy and the low wages. And
now, if there wasn't what I had called the Durkheim social facts, and the government wasn't, the government workers are the worst problem here, because they're sitting back taking those taxes, which should be going to the people and buying themselves Mercedes-Benz and paying themselves $120,000 a year.
yeah,
And we have, just in a small community of 200,000 people here, we have barely 200,000 people in this community in the whole county. And we have upwards to 20 or 30 government buildings. So you wonder where your money's going?
yeah, sure.
It's ridiculous.
All the benefits and the pensions and
the pensions, the benefits for lighter than air work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the work is. I can see the work of say a snowplow driver or a policeman or
a sanitation worker.
But we don't even need police, because that's the job of the males, and we're talking about
yeah, that's right. Well, we're supposed to be if we were to mirror like nature, I mean,
right.
What do they do in nature? It's like they hunt and they get their food and then they relax for the rest of the day, pretty much. That's how we're supposed to be. Like, we're not supposed to be laboring the way we are.
It's not supposed to be laboring.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, so you go out and you hunt and you get your meat and your food and then you relax for like 2 weeks, and then when you're running low on food, you go out and do it again. It's like the system they got now is just absolutely insane, with the interest and taxes and property taxes and inflation and the way they manipulate currencies and the whole thing with this cryptocurrency bullshit going on. And
that's just a new brand of
that's just how
we're going to debt somebody else to us, and we're going to become the chase. What is that? The system, and we don't talk about it a lot. Is the system in India where they have classism,
right? Class system,
your classes, and then now that's going to be the new class, and we're going to have to incorporate certain moralities, and we'll start regulating that.
Right.
Nobody knows where that's going to go, really, with those certain moralities, and it's a digital morality, which is not real morality, So we have all these problems with an outdated system right now. And do you agree with me that if we get rid of marriage, we get rid of divorce, we get rid of a lot of those systems, the judges, the buildings, then taxes would be 2/3 lower. And then
course, and that's why we do what we do as MGTOW. That's why we walk away. That's the only reasonable response to all the oppression.
We could still
that's how you can get your freedom back and your life back, is going through MGTOW. There's no other way.
Right.
There's no other way. It's impossible.
In my system, we can still take care of the women's, we can still take care of the babies, and pay 2/3 less, less than a third. We could pay a third of the taxes if we just get rid of that section up here that is stealing the money before it goes down to the people. It goes straight across in my system, which is we can digitalize the system and give it. All you have to do then, if you fall below poverty, you go up to your local library, you type in your social security, and it's so funny. All you have to do, everybody has a social security number. You type in your social security number, you tell them how much money you make, what's your situation, where you're living, and if you don't make enough, they would send you enough to live.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There should not be any homeless. I can't stand those stories. I used to read that stupid Drudge Report, and now it's just, I read it not for comedy because I know it's a joke. And you see these articles like mansion sells for $200 million. Like, it's you got people that are homeless and starving and all this kind of stuff, and you should be ashamed of yourself if you have that type of. You don't need a house that's a $200 million house. I mean, that's like, I guess Bill Gates lives in a 66,000 square foot mansion.
Yeah, we have
a total dork, and like, I don't understand, like you don't need that much space. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Isn't that what
It's not. You should be doing more for your community. It's like you can have an unbelievable life living in even a 2,500 square foot house. Like
isn't that what the Russian Revolution was about against the proletariat? And there was a great movie back when I was growing up. I can't remember the name of the movie where they just did away with that, and they said, no, everybody deserves a house. Everybody deserves.
Yeah, that's right. And then I don't mind. Like, listen, if somebody wants to live in a 60,000 square foot house, that's fine. But make sure other people have places to live too. They shouldn't be stressing out over money and food and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
because you look in nature. If we were to go in nature, a guy like Bill Gates would have to rely on guys like me and you to get the meat and kill the meat because he's too much of a fucking dork. Excuse my language. He's too much of a fucking dork to kill a fucking deer or do anything. Like, he can't get the meat. He can't get the. Yeah, he's gonna be the beta male sitting in the fucking tent.
The working class, like
right, guys like us are the ones. Guys like us are the ones. We're not afraid to go in the woods and kill a bear, or we have the weapons. We'll make a weapon.
Yeah, you have the farmers, and you have the herders, and you
right.
These are now all three of those are considered slave labor.
There's a lack of respect for those type of males, guys that are. Big guy, like, you're a big, I'm like kind of shaped like you. I'm a big guy, whatever. And, I can take care of myself.
For years, I made the farm.
And then you got guys like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, or Warren Buffett's like a multi-billion. I don't know. He's worth 100 billion. I don't know what the hell he's worth. It's just a ridiculous amount of money. And meanwhile, you got all these people that are homeless and you don't have food to eat.
Yeah, if these guys got together and they could solve homelessness, and there would be no males under, no males sleeping, and that's why. But we have to get rid of this casually cruel rental system. I was listening to Seth, Seth, the late night show, and he said, "Oh, you get a $1,400 check, and some of you can go out and go pay your rent."
Yeah.
I said, my comment was, Seth, don't you think the problem isn't that they're able to pay the rent? Don't you think the problem is the rent?
Yeah, it's too high. It's way too high. I was making more money 15 years ago than I am now. I was making more, like, what happened? But the price of rent went up. Everything else went up.
Yeah,
and the rich, wrong there. It's like
the rich keep increasing the price of rent, and rent is a ridiculous. That's the thing I think that's the major thing we have to work on in America, is getting the filthy fingers of the rich off of our housing.
Yeah,
they already crashed it once. They showed they're irresponsible. Plus, we have foreign investment in our housing, so we're paying. A lot of these people don't even know it. You're paying rent to some guy in Yugoslavia. You're paying rent to some guy in England. You're paying rent to some guy in Spain.
London.
Yeah, London, and you're paying. No. These people should not be able to own property over here. They shouldn't be. Rental property should have nothing to do with industrial property.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally an industrial property, and it's like, that's crazy. No, that's homes for Americans.
Yeah,
which Americans probably built.
And that's why, in a lot of ways, I hate to like family is important to me, and like to have an extended family, but this is the big town's the best philosophy for me. But boy, and then so now you're in those situations, so family becomes a lot of times more important because you're trying to minimize costs and stuff and support each other, but you can't even do that because they're going to screw you on that. They're going to screw you on that too. Like, if you're a man, you want to start, because now you got all these dependents you got to take care of as a man, and on top of that, you're given no respect and you're given no power in the court system. So you're just ultimately screwed. So the choice is to walk away. The choice is to walk away. That's the right play.
Yeah. The morality trade-off that I was talking about is no longer installed into that to make it something worth living for. My neighbor is just fucking crazy with that.
Well,
hear that?
No, I don't. No, yeah, you're fine.
This guy's alarm is just broken, and every time he moves around in the house, like twice a day, his alarm goes off.
Yeah. Monologue? I got to monologue it? No, just kidding.
No.
No, it's just what was the point I was going to bring up was I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's like I don't know, just the whole idea of that's the best option is to go MGTOW and then just try to figure it out from there. That's really all you can do. I mean,
you go MGTOW, you develop a sense of free. You develop your sense of autonomy and what you are as a male and what your value is.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? And that's what I'm understanding. Value now is like, I can see why Spurgs act the way they did. I can see why they are, because they're not the guys like us that can go out and kill the meat. They can't go kill a fucking deer. Like, trust me, if I was really hungry and I had to go in nature, I'd find a way to kill a fucking deer. Yeah, we'd have to wrestle, but I'd find a way to break his fucking leg or whatever.
Well, that was
or you would teach me probably. You might have to teach me, but I'd get one of Claire's knives and just cut his fucking throat and fucking eat the meat because I have to live. Oh, sorry for this language. I'm getting upset because I see in this society we have now, we have all these Spurg guys that are the guys that would be sitting in the tent. They wouldn't have the strength or whatever courage to kill that deer. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to.
You're in an alpha system where the alpha.
They don't get any respect, and I see that. Yeah, so the values have changed to where that's why all these men act so effeminate now, because it gets them further in life and.
Right.
But that's not the way it is in nature. In nature, it's like those strong guys like you and guys similar to you, and like we were the kings, back in the day. Guys like us were the kings. We're the ones that were the most respected. But now you want to start a family. A strong guy like you, a strong guy like me, we want to start a family. Forget it. You can't go that way. You can't go that direction because you're giving no respect.
A guy like me, or you want to be a slave?
Forget it. I'm not going to do it.
You tell me I'm a slave in any way, sense, or form, and I will reject that, and I will rage out against it. And that's with my taxes. That's with house taxes. That's with slavery attached to divorce courts, and that. So and all it is the system has become self aware of the system. The system has become self-important to the system. And then they put themselves first instead of doing the job that they were meant to do there in a minute way. Jesus Christ, I'm going to kill that horn.
What is it exactly?
The horn?
Oh, I can hear a little bit in the back. Yeah,
it's an alarm. It's a car alarm. As a car alarm's broken.
Some car alarm outside in your house.
Yeah, he does it at least 2-3 times a day, and he does it in the morning, 8 o'clock every morning.
What a fucking idiot! Oh, there you go. That guy, I guarantee you. I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of short people all the time, but I guarantee he's a short guy, probably 160 pounds, and just no clue, like what's going on around him, and
no consciousness that he lives in a community.
Right. Like you wouldn't see a strong burly guy let his car alarm do that day after day. It could just,
what that is?
What's that?
You follow the wire down to the horn and you pull the negative off the horn.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Get the damn thing fixed. It's terrible for the community. It's just.
But we're talking about people that could never do something like open up the hood, follow the wire down, and pull the wire off the horn.
Right.
And never think that way. Never have that kind of critical thinking.
They don't.
I mean, these are the people that would have 40 gallons of water in a hot water tank and begging for bottled water out front if the water ever got turned off.
Right. I'm going to be moving back into my house. Tennis moving out, and I was talking to my simp friend. Yeah, and I was talking to my simp friend. He goes, "Oh, I would have somebody go in there and clean up the house." I'm like, dude, I'm hardly working right now. Don't you think I have time to just clean it myself? It's like, I don't know, these simps, the way they think, they're just so.
You need a woman to go in there and clean up a house, huh?
Yeah, it's like, what does she have? Some special cleaner that's gonna?
Yeah.
Like, no, I can figure it out. I'll figure it out, one room at a time. I'll clean everything nice and nice.
If you wanted that done, you could have a cleaning service. What are they, like $140 a day?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, but what are they gonna do that's so much? Like, there's not, you know what I mean? Like, you can just look up stuff on YouTube now if you want to clean something like really hard to clean, like that mold. I got that mold situation, right? You were telling me just get the bleach and clean it up.
It's not.
It's not that bad. It's like you take the time to do it and whatever. But But yeah, these guys, these simps are hard to talk to. I have a friend. He's just, I just on the phone for a few hours, and he's talking about this crazy girlfriend. Like, and then he doesn't like have the critical thinking. So I said, well, you're making the decision to spend your time with her. I said you don't have to live with her. She says a lot of nasty things.
Yeah,
You talked about rape, so this is the kind of woman she is. She says to him. She says to him something like, it's 7 years if you rape somebody. Like, if you rape me, it would be 7 years. That's the kind of talk. That's the way she talks to him. And I said, wow, she's fucking. I go, excuse me, Joe. Sorry. He says, sorry for the language, but she says, I said, well, geez, don't you think she's a little unstable? And he's been dating her for like 5 or 6 years now. I said, that's a crazy thing for her to say.
Yeah, that's a warning, not a.
Yeah.
That's like, if you ask me for sex, I'll just say it's rape, and then I'll get the house, and and you'll go to jail.
Yeah, exactly. I said, you better get out of that situation. We don't do long-term relationships.
Well, that goes back to the violation of the morality codes. It's like there's an expectation of with the simps. There's an expectation of sex that's involved with the marriage, and that expectation is the trade-off of protection and money. But that's gone somewhere else now. That doesn't even exist anymore.
But you're right. There is that double standard that we talked about earlier, because she's always like, she stayed overnight. Like, I don't know if I say where she works, but she does a lot of traveling in her job.
Yeah.
And
she was probably morality violations there.
She was with some other guy and spent the night like at this other guy's house or something. And then meanwhile, she's always telling my buddy, hey, where were you? What are you doing? I said, I don't trust you. And then I was telling she's projected. She's telling on herself that she's the one. She's always questioning your loyalty. Meanwhile, she's the one that's probably, not loyal to you, right?
Yeah, that's what the first thing I learned after that was, hey, this is my body, my choice. There's nothing I give freely anymore. And don't ask me about it. I won't tell anybody about that. And but even in relationships at that point in my life when I was doing that, if I had 3 girlfriends, it was none of the other girls' business. If she called me, what you doing? I said, what are you asking me what I'm doing? It's none of your business what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You're just Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I told my buddy that he got, I don't know. I don't agree with this whole vaccine thing, but I'm not going to do it. But I told he's doing it. He's got 70, he's in his mid-70s. I said, hey, your body, your choice.
Yeah, I'm going to do it when they get a good one that works. When I can clearly see that's going to cover all the variances.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to do it. It's what do you call that? When you the telephone comes up with the 1.2 pixels and then the 2.2 pixels and the 3 point. It's designed obsolescence. That's what they're going to have this thing. They're all of a sudden they're going to have 30 variances, which you're going to get a vaccination. The next year they'll have the next vaccination. The next year they'll have the next, and then all of a sudden you're going to be paying for it.
Yeah.
It'll become part of that goes back to the social. It'll become a social fact within our country, where you're expected under vaccine laws to do that. And then they're going to make it into a designed obsolescent program where it's this and this and this, and it's always going to be, and it's always going to be. That's where structures break down. That's where structures become corrupt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who do we have in here today?
JK was in there. I don't know what he's.
Oh, there's Jeff, JK.
We watched The Equalizer the other day. That was a pretty good movie. It's all right. Unrealistic.
And Matt Downer and
Hank was in there. Hank and Jim.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, hello everybody. I just want to say hello to everybody. And,
no, it's good. Friday night. It's a good time to relax and enjoy life and.
Like always, we are so far beyond like the MGTOW. Like there's regular MGTOWs, which are, and then like what we talk about is like so It's like it's hard to.
Well, it's like we're so far ahead of everyone. It's like
Yeah,
even
we're
the
so
basic stuff. They don't even understand the basic stuff. I mean,
Yeah, they don't even understand the basics.
and they can't make the connections. You got to make the connections. How your religion's involved in your thinking, like how they shame you into no premarital sex, and you have to get married if you're gonna have sex, like all this crazy shit. And I'm not saying you should go out and seek female companionship, but at least it kind of, it's a biological thing. Sometimes you get 200 miles of fake ID, and I think that solves a lot of problems. And short term, if you need a short term fix, hey, sometimes you got to whatever. That's your business.
Yeah, POA was a direct result of the violation of the polygamy laws, and that's where that comes from. But nobody can put that together and how that works out. It's like, okay, they're just searching for momentary experiences which they think can take the place of the family structure, and that kind of loyalty which is needed to actually. There's three elements to the bonds. You got the bond between, and both have to be more. The morality isn't different for the two; it's the same for the two, but the other bond is monogamy and loyalty.
Yeah.
But but like you said, when she doesn't like with your friend, she doesn't adhere by those monogamy rules and
no, she's always looking for better options. Of course, I mean, I know this woman I used to work with. She was probably in her early 60s, and she's like 15, 20 years younger than me or whatever, or older than me. And I could tell, like, she was talking about her husband once, how, she's like told me his age, right? He was like in his late 60s.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, why is she telling me this? It's like, but I think she wanted to keep her option open.
Right.
For me to maybe get in there somewhere down the line.
Yeah, maybe you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, that's how these women think. They're always trying to.
So your tattoos?
Yeah.
Her tramp stamp?
Yeah, Spetsnaz like the tattoos, huh? He was he was into that stuff. I don't know, but but it's just so funny how even a guy like him, I mean, I'm not saying I'm better than any of those guys, but I think like over time, like you have to continue to grow and learn and like make connections. And a lot of those guys, to me, they just really haven't evolved in even their MGTOW thinking. I'm sorry. Because I try to pull up some of their old videos, and it's like they're kind of like, I don't know, kind of weak.
That level one MGTOW, what's really saying is your baby MGTOW, and that frat boy immature MGTOW. Quit it, and we're the ones that offended. No, if you're thinking that you're a baby MGTOW and you want to go back to the tradcon world, you're not even a MGTOW.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain cutoff point in that bar, 1 and 2. If you're not in the middle of that, you're not even basically what they're saying is the basic norm of MGTOW is you got to be at least a structured 3 MGTOW.
I mean, I don't know what's worse, a PUA or a tradcock. I mean, I think they're both pretty pathetic. I mean,
they're both pretty pathetic. Yeah. It's like, because they're both running on biological desires and urges that they should have in their life taken care of.
Yeah. You should not. Yeah, exactly. It should not be.
The thing shouldn't run you. Your default thing is asexuality. Get in touch with that.
Right. That's it. Right. Because again, I like to mirror what's going on in nature. You see these, strong animals in nature. They don't really do a lot of,
Yeah. Imagine a lion on a hunt.
Yeah. He's just
he's running across trying to get that gazelle. He's looking at a female out in the middle distance there he sees, and he stops running after her because that's on his mind.
Yeah.
That's what a simp's like. He's not running after the gazelle no more. He's looking at the female off in the distance because that became more important to him than what he was actually the default position of non-sexuality.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That we're supposed to be mirroring nature. We really are. Because that's what how far back do you want to go with creation, right? It's like that's what how you can sustain yourself and have a good life. It's not about, wow, look at I used to hate women that had a lot of makeup, right? I could never like get into women. I was like,
what you covering up there?
yeah, like women with a lot of makeup. I was just like, oh, forget it. This is not working
pretty,
out.
like
Yeah, I had to get the hell out of there, man. It's like, yeah, you're covering up all this. Again, in nature, boy, does makeup even exist? It doesn't exist. Nature doesn't.
It doesn't even exist. That's called mud.
No, it's corny. It's really
mud
corny
to disguise yourself from the.
Yeah. and even the breast enhancements and behind it's just very unnatural. Very, very. Men should be like, if you're attracted to that, there's kind of something wrong. You somewhere along the line you kind of lost. You lost a connection to nature or something. Because that's not normal. That's just
well, they don't understand lordosis and why the female angles and the breast things do that, and it's like they don't understand what that's about and everything, and it's not something that's taught in school, and it's like they're constantly. I mean, I see the Simps all the time, and they're constantly just they're hunting. They're on the hunt. They're what I call searching for that all the time. It's 100. It's 24/7, and they can't turn that off to do actual. I see the neuroticism in that all the time. I have to deal with the neuroticism. You like your buddy. It's always he's in a neurotic state, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He sent me. He was. He asked me, you want to see this thing on? You want to see this woman? I'm like, oh man. You know what I said to him?
No.
Just to get him to shut up. I said, yeah, go ahead, send it to me. And he sent it to me, and I deleted it right away.
Yeah.
Just so I can like play the game with him. And he's a good guy, but he's just that whole simp thing. And I don't know, I go back to that story when I was a senior. I was a junior in high school, and one of the freshman kids had a rose in his hand. And it was like one of those rose days, in high school you give roses to girls. And he was like a freshman, and he's giving a rose to like the one of the most attractive seniors. Who's 3 years older. I said, hey, what do you got? I was like, I was kind of a wise ass when I was a high school kid. I was like, hey, what do you got there? He goes, I got this rose. I said, who are you giving it to? And he told me who. I said, okay. And then I go, why are you doing that? He goes, I gotta do what I gotta do. Or he said something like that. And I just thought to myself, maybe I was a MGTOW even at age 16, but I was like, man, that is the corniest shit I've ever seen. Like you holding a rose. You're like a girl. You buying a rose for a woman. What the hell's wrong with you?
I seen that in high school, and like one of the guys were giving it to this girl, and then I automatically noticed that girl had a bouquet already.
Yeah,
that thing. She had like 40 roses already, and he didn't even notice that. He thought he was going to be the one.
Yeah. It's exactly like you always talk about. You're like your baby mama 1, baby mama 2, baby mama 2. I was listening to NWA. You ever heard of them? It's a rap group. And they have a song called "I Ain't the One," and it's a really good one. It's a kind of a MGTOW type song, like talking about women and how they, trying to play you for your money and this and that. And he's just saying, "I'm not the one. I'm not the sucker. You're not going to play me like that." And I think that's a good MGTOW song. And that was like 30 years ago. They were rapping about that. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Most of the songs that tell the truth about nature like that, like we were talking once a couple years ago about them lyrics were censored.
Yeah.
They hit on that, and back in the 60s and 70s, and even to a better part of the early 80s, and then that stopped censoring. But no, those lyrics were. I often used "If I Could Read Your Mind," that song.
Yeah.
If you can read my mind, and what he says is he makes a very MGTOW statement in one of those, like he talked, but they changed the lyrics to something else.
Yeah. NWA is amazing. That was a great song. I Ain't the One. Yeah, it's like because you're right. They're looking for resources everywhere. That's just how they are. That's just because that's part of their nature. Because it makes sense. Because because that's, in nature, a woman they're not going to be able to kill a fucking deer, or sorry, Joe, that's like 4 times now, but they're not going to be able to kill an animal to get food. They're not going to be able to get resources. That's not their strength. That's
right. The community is set up so the basic human nature is set up so this happens, then this happens, and then this happens, and then the community takes care of itself in more of a natural way. You just know if someone doesn't have a shelter in the community, so they take care of that.
Well, that got me thinking too. Another thing that I don't know if this is true or not. We have to do the research, but I think a lot of women live in fear. I really do, because if you think physically, they're not as strong.
Yeah.
So they can't walk around. Like I walk around. I'm not like I'll walk around in the worst part. Like, when I lived in Southern California, I used to drive through Compton and South Central. I didn't really care. I'm whatever. If I need to take a shortcut, I'm gonna, like, in the middle of the night. I don't like I can be in the worst area in Detroit. I wouldn't be afraid. But a woman, like, so they live in a lot of fear. I think that
they're in a sense. Susan Boyle, I think it was, or Susan something. I can't remember her last name ever.
Yeah.
She writes the original feminist doctrines, and she says, no, females are disabled.
Yeah.
And we have to treat them like they're disabled, but in that sense, they have to accept that they are disabled in these certain things.
Yeah.
Now, the fight against is what you articulate all the time with the equalizer girl. She's fighting against the sense that she is disabled and she cannot do these certain things. No, I accept that totally. That they are disabled, and we have to have a certain community set up for this. But they'll have to accept that. There's no truth in the logic that they're strong and they could take care of everything that needed to come up that may arise. No, they can't.
That's right. And I think that's why they respect, like, I don't want to offend people, but they respect the taller, burly guys. Like, guys are, I notice it when I go to the store and stuff. Like, I'm kind of shaped like you. I'm, tall and kind of a big, stocky guy. And
if you want to protect them,
they love it. Yeah, they love guys. Like, I see it all the time. They respond because I think it's in their DNA to say, oh, this is the guy that can protect me. I'm not trying to knock on short guys. Whatever. It's no big deal. I respect all men, but I'm just saying, like, I get it now. I'm starting to see the connections now, and because they do live with that sense of fear that they can't defend themselves and all this kind of stuff.
No, if there's one section of the Bible that's just sort of this little analogy is "Thou shalt not fear." Thou shalt not fear for reasons, because fearful people do fearful things, and they are usually stupid things.
Yeah,
and I was watching. I had this event in my life where that became very pronounced. I used to own a bar, so I was out selling the tickets for the band. We had a band in, and I was out front, and you can go in the back room and watch the band and everything. And I was out there, and I seen a guy get stabbed, and his fear, and he, instead of doing the right thing, which would be run towards me or run towards an authority, he started bouncing off of signs and buildings and stuff. And he was just, that's what that looks like. But in a smaller manner, fearful people that live in fear, they live in this. They live in these moments of anxiety, which they react to the anxiety instead of the real world that they really exist in. So those things may or may not be real, but they're always projecting those things on others.
Yeah, it's just,
but if you're making reactionary decisions on that, them are probably the wrong decisions. And
yeah, it's just too bad how these I don't know how else to say it, these rich people or powerful people that run these institutions, how they just totally sabotaged the strength of a man, right, within a family unit. And it's like, well, it's gonna, to beat the,
it's like what Rick put up the other day in the Fight Club thing.
Yeah,
when they went and got the banker, and he says, "Don't forget." He's sitting over after he beats him up, and he says, "Don't forget, these are the people you rely on."
Yeah.
These are the people that drive your cars. These are the people that make your food appear. These are the people that make these roads go. We are those people. And that's the way I think of MGTOW. We should have more of that mentality where we know, as men, don't screw with the people you rely on.
Right. Because eventually, well, that's why they need the police.
That's why they need the police, right?
We don't need the police. Like, I don't, like, you get, like, if I, like,
the police are no good. They only show up after the crime happens.
Right. But that's why they're there. They're there to just protect the interests of the rich.
Otherwise, they're just bodyguards for the rich.
They're not there. Right. They're there just to protect the interests of the rich. That's all they're there for.
Right.
It's really plain and simple. That's the truth. They're not.
You can't go in certain communities.
Right.
You can't drive around in certain communities because there are rich people there. You should stay out of that. They need to be protected. That's why. Right. Yeah, we have 14,728 police departments in America. You know how many they have in England and Japan?
Not less. I know Japan probably has the least.
Yeah, 48 or 68, 168 in Japan, and I think they have now. It comes to like 420 in England. Now we have 14,000 and plus auxiliary police stations, plus FBI, plus CIA, plus National Guard and Reserve, which act in that capacity. And a lot of times we have so many, and we're all paying for these things, which that's where the idea of this is what the men in the community were supposed to be doing. That's what we've lost. Right.
That's what we were supposed to be doing. Again, I love going back to the tribal. I love going back to nature.
Yeah. You would go back to nature.
Go back to nature. Yeah, right. That's the guys like us are the ones protecting the tribe and and we didn't need So if somebody gets out of line, they're gonna get their they'll get a warning of probably maybe a verbal warning, and if they do it again, they'll get their ass beat. And if they do it again, they'll throw them in the river.
There should be an understanding that if you're going to victimize old people in your neighborhood, you're going to have to put up with the men that are
right. The morality was definitely
that's sociopathic. Then these people, that whole idea they wonder why people are sociopathic because you have this false concept of police in your area. The sociopaths don't understand that the men are going to come visit you if you do that.
Right.
So they don't understand the simple basic laws like you don't strong arm old people, and that goes back to the Asian when the two events that the people just ran up on the Asians, they pushed them over. It's like in a regular community, the men would just all look up at that point and make that not happen no more.
Right. And then chances are that's not even going to, when in that system that you just said, that would never happen because they would know
that would never happen.
So much work.
Normal people know that something will happen.
Right.
Only sociopaths know that something's not going to happen.
Right.
Sociopaths think that nothing's going to, there's no consequences for those actions.
Right.
And that's so we're breeding sociopaths in our society.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's why I don't blame those guys. Like there was a guy, Roy DeMeo, who was you gotta look him up. He was a crazy ass guy down in New York and working for the organized crime guys, and they finally got sick of his shit and they just got rid of him. Man, he was just doing a lot of crazy shit, like killing a lot of people.
That could be the understanding. If you do crazy stuff, the men of society will get rid of you because you're a detriment to the society.
And
that's not a hard concept.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of dirty work for these guys, and he just got out of hand. He was just embarrassment, and it was just They took care of their own business. That's why there's a degree of honor.
Functioning societies, men take care of their business in society.
And it's interesting you bring that up because that ties into a lot of the these guys, organized crime guys now that are all ratting. They're all ratting, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to the police. They'll get a lenient sentence in this, but they don't understand.
And they rat at the people that they're working for, so they can get away with their crime.
Right. But
that's behavior.
But the way it was before, when the police were not as involved, that was just such a better system. That's when you had better neighborhoods because then the guys like Roy DeMeo, they just get rid of they just take care of their own business. They're not worried about anyone ratting them. So you get rid of the psychopaths. And then the DNA gets better and healthier.
Right. That's the gods of war. idea. You know, it's
we're devolving, is what it is.
We're devolving.
We're devolving for sure.
We want the strongest males so they can kill them off.
Right. They want to kill off. Right. That's exactly.
We're talking about the gods of war. We're talking about the industrialists. We're talking about the politicalists. We're talking about those. The gods of war only want to kill off the strongest males so they can make the weaker males subservient.
Right. That's advanced thinking. That's the stuff that the information they don't want out there. Where you just said.
No, they don't want it because they want the system where there's another class. I tried to get into that other class. You know how hard I tried to get it, but they would never accept me.
I get offended when I see a female police officer. I actually get offended. From the standpoint of I don't need a woman protecting me. You know, it's
an aberration of natural law.
Yeah. Like you're it's like you're protecting. It's like, yeah,
it's not right. No.
I don't like it.
We shouldn't need the police. Everybody should know. No. Everybody should be taught how to act. But that's the school's responsibility. Right. Now, where did the school fail on teaching people how to act? Instead of having social and moral codes.
Yeah, they're worried about grades. They're worried about getting good grades.
They're worried about their grades, and they're worried about they're worried about like
obedience, like you said.
No, you should know that there's an inherent intuition, and this was the argument with who was the argument? Oh, Brantham's law. Brantham's law is about there's an inherent intuition about in people that you know what's right and what's wrong. I know what's right and what's wrong, and you should adjust your behavior to that. We all know it. We all have an intuition about what's right and wrong. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Now, even that's been warped.
Well, they're getting people. Jeff and I talk about this a lot. How they want people not to trust themselves and their own intuition. They want you to think there's something wrong with you, or
there's something wrong with you, right? That's where that's something wrong plays in, and it becomes ambiguous, right? We talked about the ambiguities about closure and ambiguities, and why people don't get the closure and why people don't know what's right and wrong because they've never had that kind of because there are certain ambiguities now that are just in our society, and you have to accept them as they're true.
But the women definitely get they get a free pass. They get a free pass on a lot of stuff.
Right, there's moral latitude that is extended. The chains of morality get extended to them, and that's part of the problem now because that it's not a sustainable society.
No, that's why I have such a good life, Joe. I haven't been in a long-term relationship in, like I said, probably I think 18 years now. 18 years. I've never been married. 18 years. I mean, I probably lead the league in short-term relationships, but even then, I'm like, because I'm a big guy, strong guy, street smart. I think I can handle it better. But I've been in situations where I've been in some, situations that were not good from that too. So even then, I'm putting myself at risk with even that.
Yeah, there's always
not smart either.
The rules of when you're working in a dangerous job or something like that, you are a male, you have to. That's how they're going to get to you.
Right.
They're going to get to you through your family. They're going to get to you through the things you love. So you can't have things you love.
Right. That's a good point. You're right.
That's how they're going to get to you. That's how they got to me. And otherwise, there was no chinks in my armor except for that.
Yeah, and like even Timothy Blades with his kids, like
that's how they got.
Rest in peace, rest in peace, Timothy, and he was a great guy, and that's why I give SFM is he's a smart guy, man. He got away from that situation, with his kids. They're not his kids, he understood. He understood that.
Yeah, they're her kids.
And I give him a lot of respect for making that, for trusting guys like you that we're talking about it, and he's going to benefit from that his entire life by getting away from those kids. On a surface level it sounds mean, but when you look what happened with Timothy, that's one of the reasons why I think he got into that situation was he couldn't get away for whatever reason. I don't know. Am I right in that assessment? I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons what led to his incarceration without cause, because I investigated that thing. I talked to the lady that wrote that. I talked to the lady that wrote the article. I could show you, it's on my Google, where she says, so one of the things that he was incarcerated for was his actual videos he had made.
Okay, so those videos were not him though, right? I don't know.
There was question whether the person in the video that was there was question whether that was actually him. I thought that was the other cop.
Yeah, it might have been him then, huh? I don't know.
Yeah, and then it's like these people they murdered him.
I think so.
And there's Black Wolf wants to come in. Do you want to be taking people in today, or are we?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
That okay with you, or
yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
He says he has something to offer to this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send him if that's okay. I don't know whether you want
Claire, the equalizer. Yes, she's the equalizer.
Yeah, she's gonna judo chop you.
Yeah. That's a good topic though, because it's kind of like you have to make connections. See, like you said, there's first level, there's many different levels.
Do you want to open this whole thing up for anybody that wants to come in? I can put it.
Yeah, it's your show. Yeah, absolutely.
I think we've covered most subjects.
Yeah, but again, I think if you can make the connections, then you're gonna have a better life, because you'll understand the game, like how it's being played. Like you're being played.
Right.
You're being played, and I'll give you a quick example. Like there was a thread. I guess this company, corporate company, was really screwing their employees. Okay. And I made a comment on there. Hey, listen, because I guess what they were doing is singling out people for like 30-day evaluations and treating them like, right. Listen, this is what you do. I says, when the boss is not working, you know what? Put your tools down. Right, and then you don't give them out. You don't give out a full effort. You give them a half. They're going to do that kind of stuff. You give them a half-ass effort. Now, when the manager's looking, then you can step it up. Yeah, that's what we've been looking at. Right. They still belong to the unions, and we have union meetings and everything. Even though I'm retired from that. We talk about that. There's this whole industry now that's built in Ohio about getting rid of people before they're vested into the company and not having to pay. Right. They don't want to pay the insurance. They don't want to pay for premium wages. They don't want to pay. They don't want to provide these people with proper, adequate safety equipment either. And there's this whole thing that's just garbage. Hello, Black Wolf. How's your sound? Hey, how's it going, Black Wolf?
Hey, man. It's going great. I hope you guys and everybody have been well. I was listening to you earlier. I wanted to say I've encountered people who have this type of psychopathy, and they are some true SOBs. I mean, I've seen people like smile at another person and purposely try to engage them just because they wronged them one time. And sometimes you don't even know you pissed them off. They're the type of people that have crashed their boat into yours just to see you sink. It's really messed up. And honestly, in any time period, they would have been killed. They would have been pushed off of a cliff or taken on a hunting trip and then just, taken care of. Men
in our society would have taken care of it, or they would have known. There's this sociopathic behavior that they don't think the police only show up after the crime is committed. They figure they can do the crime and then lie their way out of it. Mm-hmm. And
or get an attorney, Joe. They can afford the attorney.
Or they can afford attorney to buy. You can buy your own freedom now too. But that's
by the judge. That's what they do.
But there's this thing when the police do actually show up to take statements and everything, they don't believe the people that they're talking to. Like this guy, they'll say, this guy's a sociopath. This guy's, he tortures people in the neighborhood. He does this, he does that. He's a drug dealer or a drug user. And then things aren't taken care of because the police generally, they're not there to take care of those things. They're there to make sure, well, if there were rich people around here, we would worry about that.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a sociopathic behavior that develops from that, and I see it all the time. That's the guy that he was strong arming old people coming into the convenience store up there. You know who had to take care of that? I did.
Yeah.
I had to put myself out and say, no, you're not going to. And there's a difference between asking for money. I understand there's people up there that, okay, man, I need $1 for, so I can get some pop or some food today or something. And I'm really good with those people. Like, oh, here you go. But there's a difference between when I see people strong arming.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they do it in the public schools too. That's why the teachers can't discipline the way they used to. These kids acting all crazy and they're not disciplined the way they were.
Right,
now you got all these laws that you go, teacher go to jail and this and that if you're disciplining a student.
Yeah, most of the shows I watch on TV and everything, the cop shows and everything, the biggest complaint is that the law protects the people that are breaking the law.
Right.
Most of the time now, that's the biggest topic that I hear. It's like, it's like there was just I watched NCIS yesterday, the newest episode of NCIS, and Gibbs had beat up a guy that had killed like 10 dogs, and he was running an illegal pit bull dog fighting ring, and he beat him up. So guess who lost his job?
He did.
Yeah, he did, and there was some big controversy about. Everybody thought there was some everybody thought there was a morality violation against beating some guy up there that was killing dogs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, there was no morality violation. That should have been the men in the neighborhood would have said, no, we needed to get rid of that guy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But most of the shows have these subtle morality violations of protecting the criminal now, and that's when sociopathy is kind of breeded in that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
You can see it in Trumpism about he doesn't pay his bills and he doesn't feel he has to.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was born that kind of sociopath.
Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to find such people because they're like termites. They really do. They operate a lot like a termite. They will use the group to protect themselves, act like they're really doing something when in actuality all they're doing is just destroying the group from the inside out.
From the inside, right. They're destroying the social structure, which is the wood. And but that all goes back to men in our society no longer. It would be considered to be vigilante to take care of things in your own neighborhood because that's why the police are. But the police aren't going to show up until after the crime is committed.
Yeah, they don't handle people, and then they get mad when other people do. I mean, a lot of these people. Vigilante. I mean, hell, you saw what happened to me about a few days back. I was livid, but then again, I thought to myself, I fight that bastard, I'll be fighting everybody else. And there's a lot of people that do this. They act like they're these really nice people, and then they flip on you at the drop of a time. I don't know if they're bipolar, if they have something wrong with them. All I know is that
they do have something wrong with them. It's like it's a lack of social consciousness, which is they weren't taught. Most of these people can be taught how to be good humans. But that's something you have to teach a kid. But they're not teaching kids. They're teaching kids how to give candy to little girls and not offend the little girls and stuff like that. The social laws are all warped.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. And what kind of gets me is you can't even hurt these people because the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to get protected by the police, and it's very hard to figure out who was the instigator and who was the victim because they're so woven into the tapestry. That's why they're unique cowards. That's like they're the ultimate form of coward because they bury themselves into the tapestry.
They bury the woodwork of the society, and you have to root that out. And that's why it's so important that each man in each house acts like a police officer. And then you get together with all the men and you go, I seen him doing this, and the other guy across there, he goes, yeah, he was, acting weird over here. And then that same guy was, I seen him strong arming an old person. I seen him doing this. And then you all know in the consciousness that develops from that this guy is a bad guy. But you're not allowed to do that no more. We don't even have community meetings anymore, so we can talk about these things. But them have been outlawed because God forgive all the men get together and start talking about protecting their community because we wouldn't need to police them.
Yeah, they don't want us to protect the community to any degree. I mean, it's funny. They won't protect it. They don't want us to protect it. They want to disarm us in the process.
Right.
And
They
this
want
is
to
why
disarm you in the process. And the only problem with gun laws is you're taking the guns away from the people. What happens when that person needs that gun? Are you going to be there? No. Like I said, the police only show up afterwards, after you're dead. And then they told you couldn't have a gun.
Yeah, it's like that movie that remember Charles Bronson?
Vigilante.
Remember how they demonized vigilante justice? That's what those movies were probably all about, demonizing that.
Yeah.
Blackwell's too young to remember. Remember that guy?
What was that movie called?
Demolition Man. Demolition Man.
No, Charles Bronson. What was the one he was in? Death Wish. Death Wish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That one's over me.
Yeah, he was really popular in the 70s, 80s.
Oh, he was the original vigilante.
Yeah, he was the original vigilante. Yeah, right.
He was like, man, I see what's wrong here, and it's you people.
Right.
It's like he couldn't do anything because he was afraid of the police, retribution from the police, because he was going to take care of this problem where the police were making money off of it. And that sums up a lot of it.
Well, yeah, that's why The Equalizer was, that was a pretty good movie. We saw it yesterday. RP and JK and I were watching it, and I thought Denzel Washington was great in that. And but the thing is, now they got Queen Latifah doing it, and it's like, come on, man, like you're ruining the whole series,
Oh, Christ, it's pretty funny, and we have a lot of people that really. We're developing probably between 300, 400,000 sociologists every year coming out of colleges in America, and none of them could see this social problem that we've developed. There's always what they're teaching them is when they get to that point where they're going to ask the real pertinent question. And they have to balk on that, and they have to admit that they're not going to rock the boat with that pertinent question. And we have 400,000 kids that have useless degrees because they're all agreeing with the society that we live in.
Yeah.
But it'll get them health and human services jobs where they can become part of the structure of a social fact that. Where they're part of that thing eating up the money before it actually gets to the poor. So there's the inherent, there right there is the inherent corruption in the system. They're breeding that corruption.
Yeah, they planned it out well too. It's like they think these things over.
Right. And that's what makes Jordan Peterson so ridiculous sometimes when I listen to him. For being a really smart guy and knowing your words really well and shit, and you have all your big words, and like you're an idiot.
They got pictures of Jordan somewhere. They got him in some warehouse or something with whatever. They got him in some leather outfit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it's all just the school structure is a part of it. When do you see kids disagree in the school? We talked about this the other day in classes. I want to disagree sometimes.
Right. I'm seeing he's like a troublemaker. Like I ask the most questions. I'm like the oldest guy in this class, right? It's class. I'm like the oldest, whatever. So I have more experience than these other students. It's not their fault, whatever. They got 3. I got 20-something years experience. They got like 3 or 4 or whatever, right? And right, there are times I want to disagree with the professor too, but I find myself holding back too sometimes because I don't want to piss everybody off and become a troublemaker and whatever.
I'm going to spend like $500 on his $600, $700, $800 on his course, and then have it taken away from me for being retributive justice that I disagreed with the course.
Yeah, you know what I do? I ask questions. That's my way of kind of.
Yeah.
Can you explain this a little bit more? Like,
Yeah.
can you explain this part a little more? Like, I want your opinion on this. And blah,
Yeah.
blah,
Sometimes
Trust me, that's for the best, because I had a teacher many years ago who tried to call me out in front of the class, and he made himself look stupid because I'm the one with the woodland experience. And he's over there trying to tell me the different kinds of flowers. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure, that's a fucking orchid. He's like, well, how do you know? I was like, well, I'm a dumbass losing the woods. I'd like to think I at least know something about flowers. I mean, he ended up trying to give me a 0 for that class, so I had to fight that.
Well, that would be the retributive justice for.
See that he gave you wanted to give you a 0 because for disagreeing with him.
For disagreeing with his
right.
Course.
That's ridiculous.
You disagree.
They told me that the dean told me they couldn't change that, and I said it's cool. I didn't even care about the grade anymore. I just said it's cool. But it was just really funny how pissed off and red in the face this guy got.
Yeah.
And sure enough, one of his students, ate some mushrooms and was sent to the ER or something from what I hear, and I got a good laugh at that in the cafeteria. Like, wow, bet you wish you didn't teach him that.
Oh, was he telling him he can run out and eat mushrooms? And
yeah, he was telling people you can run out and then, oh, this one is the liver spotted mushroom. These are the safe mushrooms to eat. And I'm looking out there, I'm just shaking my head the entire time. I was like, what are you laughing about? I was like, nothing. I've just never heard anybody, put it so eloquently before.
Yeah, and I was like, well, that changes from area to area,
Yeah, he was just making it seem like it hit two mushrooms and everything.
If you're going to go mushroom hunting, it's not the same in New York as it is in Ohio, and it's not the same in Colorado as it is. You better get together with an experienced person that has the experience of actually being out in the woods and had ate in some of those things, so you can identify those things.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, people get that freaking piece of paper and they think they're a god for whatever reason, and some of them even think they go and study something for 3-5 years for some odd reason. They think they have more experience than someone who's spent like over fucking 30-40 years doing that. It's odd to me. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. That's what it really is.
Well, I always say, they're pumping out kids right now that all know the same thing, and it's like, that's not useful to society. The kids aren't allowed to excel and question and be critical of what they're learning. They all have to sit there. But you're pumping out, like in Ohio State, they're going to pump out 200,000 kids that all know the same thing this year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At whatever level that it aspired to, I just, just have all those kids are going to go and get government jobs. It's like,
and be damned if you're exceptional, because we live in a society that will punish you for trying too hard, but then turn around and condemn you for not trying hard enough. Right. It's the funniest thing in the world.
You're critical, and you're supposed to critique everything. That's the scientific method nowadays. Well, at least the postmodern scientific method that says, no, you're supposed to critique what you hear and ask questions about it. Run it, and make sure it's the truth. So,
yeah, it's hard to do that when,
Yeah, it's hard to do it when you have authoritarianism.
Yeah, people get all offended when you ask them questions, and so he had it right. Ask questions, because these guys they get mad. I had a philosophy teacher talk for almost 20 or 30 minutes about all of his accolades and all of his accomplishments, and then I kind of fell asleep a little bit, and he's like, "Is there something bothering you?" I was like, "No, I just was wondering when you're gonna stop stroking yourself so we can get to the class."
Well, we see a good example of that, like last year, when Trump bought 65 million doses of hydrochloroquine because he thought that was the cure, because he was the decider, he was right, he knew better. 65 million. I still want to know what happened to that money. What do you do with those 65 million doses of hydrochloroquine? That ain't worth shit. And
he just recommended. Now he's a doctor now, Trump.
Now he's a doctor, yeah.
He's telling people to take the vaccine. What do you know? He doesn't know shit about me. He runs casinos. I mean, come on.
I mean, that's the society we live in, and these people get away with that stuff. And it's like, I mean, the whole world tried to call him on that, but you have at least 30-40% of the ignorant population that believes him.
Yeah.
See, Equalizer, you're gonna see. That's why you're gonna see me walk by with an empty bottle of bleach with whiskey in it. Yep, I'm doing the Lord's work.
Doing the Lord's work. I'm handing out a shot for each person that wants it. Oh, that's funny. I always say, "Oh, I don't want him to die or anything bad. I just want him to go see Jesus. Please go see your Jesus."
But yeah, man, it's funny. I have to laugh about it because I've met people that have done this. You know, women. You have women that will go off and get these psych degrees, or whenever anybody gets mad at you, they try to psychoanalyze you. It's the funniest thing in the
Oh
world. Like
yeah,
they act like they're qualified to prescribe
yeah,
medication or something. It's hilarious.
yes.
It's like it's
Every
like the inmates control the asylum. It's like some weird Batman thing where the inmates
amateur
run the asylum.
psychologist, amateur psychology on the internet's big.
It really is, man. Like they're just using it to mess with someone. I told the last girl that pulled that with me online. She's like, "Oh, you're probably a prick. You're probably insult women. You're probably dangerous and all this stuff." And then I let her say all this, and I said, "Okay, so since you're done analyzing me, if I'm so dangerous, why you keep trying to be next to me?"
Yeah, the whole you hear
Why?
the uprising females online analyzing narcissism, and they're like, "Oh, these males because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're more dominant. That must be narcissism."
Yeah, and they tell us that we have these huge egos and everything. The last Well, I remember taking psych. The last girl who got mad and like called me a narcissist, what I did was took out a mirror, put it in front of her, and said, "Well, the world learned from the best."
There you go, narcissists. No, it's really weird, and that thing is, most male egos are big because they know they can do things, and they know they can be forceful. They know they can bend the world to their will, and that's not narcissism. That's just logic. I mean, males are very confident. You're supposed to be confident as a male. If constant confidence is narcissism, we're going to end up with a bunch of millennials that have that are so just subservient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is why. I mean, much as people hate it when I say this, I hope they speed this up. You know, this little collapse thing. It's going to be fun watching them, scattered like rats in the wind.
That's going to be
And
horrifying. It's I mean, look at what happened when what's that big storm that hit New York
Like 18.
um,
a few years ago, and then the electric went out, and then
We're talking about 2003. You're talking about? Or?
no, it was 2013 something. I 14.
Oh, okay. 2003. We had one.
Yeah, and these people are standing outside begging for bottles of water. It's like,
Yeah.
this is, that's how it's how domesticated we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
you want to know what's so crazy? People talk so much crap about the preppers, but you want to know who was actually helping them and giving them the water? It was preppers.
Yeah. And all I said is, in every one of your houses, there's a 40-gallon hot water tank. There's water in there. And they didn't know that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got like 20 pumps and 20 filters out there. It's like I don't have no problem filtering and boiling my water. Matter of fact, I take charcoal and I make it's charcoal and a common making cheese, what is it? Calcium chloride. You take your charcoal, you mix it, you boil it inside of some calcium chloride, you break it up a little, then you dry it out, and there's a filter.
I mean, hell,
It's a common cheese making chemical you should have around the house.
I mean, they can even boil the water. I mean, these people are just so uncreative, and I laugh because I've had people make fun of me for being a prepper, like, "Oh, wolfing this little doomsday freaking plan or whatever." Like, no, I'm not even preparing necessarily for a doomsday. It's just if some crap happens, I just want to be ready. I at least I have about a good 4 or 5 months worth of food left. Something really bad happens, I'm good. I'll just kind of keep to myself until things happen.
You know
And
the
these
best
people,
water filter is? You take a piece of pine tree about that big, you put it down, and you take a bottle, and then you shove that in the bottle, a full bottle of water. You tilt it upside down, and that piece of pine tree will filter all that water out perfectly.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Never tried that before.
Yeah, because it's porous and it'll go through, but the porous is like like 0.02 or so. It's under the 0.045 that you need. It's
That's pretty perfect. I got the little life straw and a couple other things for that, but it's good to have that.
Yeah, a piece of
Get that.
charcoal, some calcium chloride will work fine. It's like people don't know this, and it's like, but I don't see them like collecting water off their. I mean, it was a hurricane too. It's not like there wasn't water everywhere.
Yeah.
That was the ironic part for me. It's like, Jesus, people, that was a hurricane. There's water everywhere.
The crazy world we live in. I think a lot of people,
are domesticated, and there's been recent articles, and I've read some recent studies on Williams disease and domestication, and people, and it's probably, I could see it on the faces of a lot of the people. Me and Joey were talking about this. You look at a guy like Mitch McConnell, and it's like that dude's like half Williams disease. He's been so domesticated that you could tell by his facial figures, the turtle guy, and Graham, what's his name? It's like, Jesus, that guy's got Williams disease, and this guy's a senator.
Yeah. Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, these are people that have been. It's a sign of domestication when the ears round off and you don't have facial stuff, and your eyes drop, and you get that look. That's a sign of domestication, like a farm animal, and you can't figure out how to get water if the farmer doesn't deliver the water.
Well, they're malnourished too, Joe. That's another kind of off topic a little bit. They're malnourished too. They're eating plant-based diet, which is not good. You're supposed to eat a lot of meats and raw meats and.
Yeah, I started the Atkins thing. I started.
Yeah, because it's like this whole thing with cholesterol too. Your body needs cholesterol to repair itself.
I started that keto diet. Actually, I bought the pills this week. And
they're not getting the nutrients, so that's why they act a little crazy. It's like they're not getting, they're eating processed foods and Oreo cookies for breakfast. And all this kind of crazy.
They overload on things that they don't even need, and the worst part about it is there's people that don't even know what the word non-perishable actually means, or pear preserves, any of the other stuff. I mean, for me, the only time I ever like soda is with alcohol, but soda straight, I can't touch the stuff. It makes me sick.
Yeah.
Those chemicals, the chemicals. Like so the thing about labels, if you can't pronounce what's on a label, then don't eat it, right? Like a chemical, you can't pronounce it. Or if it has multiple ingredients, like I'd say more than 5, then it's probably not going to be good for you either. So there's a lot of ways you can pronounce it. That's why people are acting the way they do. They're malnourished.
I'm going to take a short break, guys. Carry.
Yeah, aspartame. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, aspartame, and we'll be here, Trev. I'll carry it for you. Aspartame and corn syrup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they put a lot of corn syrup and stuff, and man, like I can eat, if I would eat like a burger or something, I'd have to home make it because I can't go to Burger King or In-N-Out. Like I had one of those and I threw up. I can't digest that shit because I've been off of it so long. I mean, that's why I eat like a lot of the foods I like to eat is seafood and Italian food whenever possible, and when I'm not eating that, walnuts, almonds, almond milk, rice milk. Stuff like that, because I did do a vegan thing for about a month. I lost at least a good 10 pounds, and it's okay, but in moderation. I wouldn't suggest anybody go full on and cut meat completely out. At least leave chicken or lean meat or white meat chicken in there, just something that's not as heavy on because it's really the seasonings that fuck people up. The seasonings that the people OD on sometimes, and spices. So I've been trying to like lose weight as well. I think I need to lose about maybe 15 pounds. I'll be good. But yeah, man, it's they don't eat right. these people don't eat right, messes with their brain, messes with everything, and they want you to be this way. They want you to eat bad food, get sick, end up in the hospital. That way you're always going to be making the money. Always.
Yeah.
And it's all part of it's part of the Leviathan, man. The Leviathan lives off of people's souls and money. Starves the Leviathan and it dies. I mean, or Hydra. I mean, for me, I equate it to a Hydra. Because every time you slice one head off, it just gets another head, and it's just that's my issue with it. I had to get away from the city because it was causing me to have issues. I mean, it's just too much. The traffic lights, all that shit. I prefer the mountains. I prefer the woods. I prefer nature. That's what I know. That's what I understand. But when I go to these colleges and stuff, I'm happy all the classes are online. Because I go to these colleges and stuff, sometimes these teachers are trying to tell me, like, patronize people, shit, and I try to bear with it. But when they try to call me out and embarrass me in front of the class, I laugh. And when I did this to a teacher and started laughing, he's like, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, "Because I'm probably never going to see these people ever again."
Yeah.
But you think it hurts me somehow, and they try to exert their power to do that. I mean, because of him, some kid went to the ER from eating some bad damn mushrooms, bro. That's what I'm saying. The Dunning-Kruger effect is going to get people killed, and truth be told, these people should have been killed a long time ago. I know that's the main thing to say, but
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain protections in our society. Like I always use it's a joke. I understand it's a joke. The Ford invented the window that only goes up down halfway, so kids wouldn't jump out. Well, maybe those kids needed to jump out. If you're so stupid, you're going to jump out of a moving car. Maybe you're not ripe for society.
Yep. I mean, it's just going to reach a point, man, when Clown World takes full effect, I'm just going to open up my own little Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and just dress like that every day.
I can tell you, yeah, I can tell you, we had 9 kids in my family. We're very young, and we used to have this big station wagon. None of us tried to jump out the window.
Yeah.
And those things went all the way down. The child safety proof windows. That cracks me up.
I mean, it's
funny.
It's just really funny when stuff like that happens. I mean, I've seen that they need a "do not attempt" label on just about everything because people have become that desensitized and that crazy to the point where
on the bags, do not put this bag over your head. That should be pretty much common sense.
Do not suffocate yourself.
Yeah,
it's insane, man. I mean, I saw a commercial where this dude jumps out of a plane. It's a phone commercial. I didn't even know it was a phone commercial for like 3 minutes. Catches a phone like a lightning bolt, hits the ground, and it has this big "do not attempt" label on. And I'm thinking to myself, if anybody actually attempted that, they deserve to hit the ground. I'm sorry.
Yeah, pretty soon they're going to mark the end of the barrel of the gun, like, don't hold this barrel this way. Oh, that's for the autistic kids.
I'm telling you guys, though, it's going to reach a point to where the next time some kid or somebody does something stupid, hopefully, maybe 10 years from now, I'm going to grow a beard just for the occasion. Every time they do something dumb, I'm going to have my little Oompa Loompas come out, play a little flute.
They got a family of Oompa Loompas in there somewhere. Oh, that's ridiculous. It's become Idiocracy in the movie Idiocracy, where the society, the average mean of the society IQ had gone so low that they couldn't figure out how to water the plants.
Yeah.
That's why we need to stop. We need to stop saving some of these people. Like, I learned my lesson with
Nick
P.
does got
Ways.
the idea. Just stop breeding. Oh, you don't need to breed all over the place. It's like, I mean, let's slow this thing down. Save our world. Stop breeding. Let's get these margins of stupid down to something reasonable.
Yeah, because we can't control these idiots. I mean, I learned my lesson with that whole little escapade.
They're allowed to vote too, and well, you know who they voted for this last time.
Yep. It's pretty crazy, man. I mean, it's to the point where I truly believe there needs to be like an IQ test if anybody's going to go off and have children, because there are some
There
really,
should be some kind
really
of
dumb
common
people.
knowledge that like you two understand. You both got to raise these kids, and that means you to the woman you got to not be a whore, or else he's going to leave, and then like she's going to leave if you beat her and you demand her cooking in the kitchen every day. She might want to leave. You know, simple stuff like that. Like you got the responsibility of a child now.
You know, I guarantee you, if it was a test like the one you take at the DMV, I guarantee you it would lessen the amount of child problems we'd have. Like, sir, you got to renew your
Yeah.
license to have kids.
You got to renew that. Yeah, that thing's out of control down there. It's like, I mean, there's definitely. Well, they talked about this. You know what really started feminism? I can't remember her name. Steinberg,
Oh yeah,
original
Gloria Steinberg.
not Gloria, but the one in the 1800s. I can't remember her name.
Oh, Elizabeth Cadillac. Elizabeth
Yeah,
Cadillac.
now she was a big proponent of that same thing. She was a big proponent of eugenics. It's like before we let people breed, they got to be smart enough to breed.
I mean,
They've drifted away from that philosophy, haven't they?
yeah, they've really drifted away from that, man. I mean,
drifted away from the garden there. Jesus.
You know the worst part about it? If I was the one design making that IQ test, it'd be the easiest test ever. I throw a rock in the water, tell somebody to go over there. Okay, look at that. Quick, save your reflection. He's drowning.
Save your reflection. He's drowning. Yeah. Whew.
That's how we know who should be having a kid and who isn't.
It just doesn't seem like when I was younger, it wasn't like this. It was everybody kind of knew. The men had everything. It was kind of in order, and it's so changed, and there ain't no going back on that either. Now it's like.
That's why I just say embrace the hate, man. It's just there's nothing we can do to stop this oncoming. I thought about it for a long time. It's just, it's a done deal with a lot of this.
Pretty soon they'll be all running around like just stabbing each other with sharp sticks because that's the only thing they can figure out how to make. It'll be really funny to watch. They'll get an infection and not know how to take care of it. I won't be around that long. I've got very few years left, and
not if you eat that raw meat.
Yeah, I'm wanting to go to the other side because when I see that guy that did this, I'm beating his ass.
Yeah. It is a son of a bitch too, because I mean, I know for us, you were Irish Catholic, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Me, I'm Italian Catholic. It's like, that's hard to get away from. Shit.
Oh, that was one of the hardest things in my life. Is there's all that guilt and that shame and that.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is like to realize there's no hell, and they can't use that against you no more. So now you have your own autonomy. You can think for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened with me with Roman Catholicism, because you guys might laugh about this, because what they were teaching the kids, at least when I was growing up and like Sunday school and all that, what we learned about sex was this: if you do it before you're married, you're going to hell. That's what we were all told. It was weird.
Yeah, that's all boils down to their just world fallacy. God's gonna, and anybody that it's an easy way to get the closure. We talked about the closure thing. Their easy way to get closure is just world fallacy. Anything that happens to anybody, they must have deserved.
Yeah,
and that's just that's the start of the screw up of our society.
Yep. Reap what you sow. I mean, I think you have to question even that. Like that seems like it's common sense. Yeah, you reap what you sow, but when you go deeper into it,
no, that's not true. Most people.
Yeah, there's more to it.
Yeah, it's like you could sow some seeds and for no reason at all, they don't grow. I mean,
Right. And it's like if you're good to people all the time, well, you would think that's a good thing, and most of the time it is, but then you got those people that are just going to take advantage of that. So you have to kind of balance it out with that too.
Right. Yeah, we have a saying around here. Nothing grows in the soil of Lorraine.
Yeah.
That comes from the Bluest Eye, the book The Bluest Eye. But you have to understand the book The Bluest Eye to understand nothing grows in the soil of Lorraine.
Yeah. Why is that? Can you explain that?
They thought the two sisters thought if they put these things in it, grows. Her little sister that was raped by her father was not going to have the baby, and the baby was going to be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a horrible little book if you ever read it, and most people should. It's about my town here, Lorain, Ohio, and the steel mill, and bigotry, and having to grow up here, and what it was like, and yeah.
Toni Morrison, right?
Toni Morrison, The Bluest Eye, one of my favorite books. Now, it's only because I live here. I know what it was like. Mm-hmm. And yeah, these little sayings that we have, nothing grows around here, basically because the dirt is poison from the steel mill, and we live on a shale bank.
Yeah.
Let me see if I got that picture. I'll show you I don't know if I put it up. Oh no, I took it down. There used to be a picture I'd run that looked like a moon landscape. That's Lorraine.
Okay.
I don't know if I still got those pictures.
I'm trying to figure out if I should bust this or not. I made this little mini glass terrarium. I can't get the plant out, so I'm wondering whether I should just bust the bottom of this glass and take it out.
Bust the bottom of the glass?
Yeah, it's a tiny little terrarium I made because I got this Venus flytrap that I've been growing for about 6 months, and I left it alone. Yeah, I left it alone, and now it's outgrowing its little mini jar, and the shitty part is I don't know how to get it out without breaking the thing because it's so small.
Yeah.
What if I should just bust the bottom?
Yeah, that's what it looks like in the back of you.
Oh. Nice.
That goes on for a good 20 miles around the community. See in the back where the steel mill is. That's all ash from making steel. Nothing grows on it.
Yeah. Well, you know how I feel about plants. Does it?
They took that stuff and they built our roads.
As long as you have some deer around that you can kind of take care of.
No, that's the rehabilitation project that they've been going through that goes through down the river. So they've started rehabilitating that thing from the 1800s.
Dang. Plants are good to have equalized because I got tired of having that damn bug zapper. Just get a sundew plant or a Venus flytrap, and it'll take care of about 50% of your problems.
Yeah, you know what's great outside? Well, the best thing for bugs outside?
The what's that?
A bat.
Yeah, sure.
A bat. If you get a colony of bats, you build a bat box. You get a black box about this big, and make levels. You show you on the internet how to make a bat box. Put it towards the sun as the sun rises in the morning, and get some bats in there, and those bats will eat up to 15,000 insects at night.
Damn, I didn't know that. I was doing it the slow way. I mean, because like a fruit bat, right, or any kind of
Or a
bat.
regular brown bat. You get a regular brown bat. They don't hurt anybody, and they circle around all night. You see them circling around the light posts and everything. That's what they're doing. They're eating, and they eat a lot. Them little suckers eat everything. They'll eat all the bugs, and you won't have a mosquito in your area. But we've killed all the bats. Now we got mosquito problems. So we got West Nile virus coming up, and they wonder why. Because you killed your bats, you idiots.
Yeah. You don't mess with nature.
And nature's a bee, man. Like I really think nature's punishing us for screwing with it so many damn times, if anything, because people don't leave well enough alone. But thanks for that bat thing, because I had these sundew. The sundew plant took care of the ant problem, and this Venus flytrap will hopefully take care of that cockroach problem.
Now you can add those little flies to your garden. Take some meat and just a piece of raw meat. Throw them out there in the spring. Now you can have the little gnats, they call them, the little flies flying around. But those things will keep most of the bugs down in your garden, and the viney things won't get the bugs that burrow in them.
Oh yeah, I had to get that.
Because those flies, they're very they're aggressive parasites. They put their eggs inside of other bugs, and then that kills them off. So do that in the summer. You'll see me about the end of and I'll be complaining about all the little flies around. but I appreciate it because I have tomatoes to eat.
So
true, it balances out.
Natural insecticide is other insects. You learn about them.
So what's your? I was gonna say, what's your official take on that Deshaun Watson thing?
Oh, Black Wolf.
Yeah, did you hear about that? Deshaun Watson. Football.
I've been under a rock. What did he do? Did he is that the dude that beat up the I heard something about I don't know, he beat up some chick, or am I thinking about something else?
Yeah, he got Me Too'd lately. There's a rash of Me Too'ing.
12.
Oh yeah.
For massages.
For massages, yeah.
Wow, really? I did hear what happened to some Asian dude, some MMA fighter. He refused to be in the ring with this chick, the ring girl. He refused to even be close to her because the last ring girl accused him of sexually assaulting her, even though he was like 10 feet away from her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they've been doing this to a lot of football players. It's just getting worse. I mean,
the Me Too'ing's really out of hand, and it's a form of
abusing the law.
Yeah, they can use the law to abuse the law so they can get settlements and payments, and that's more about hypergamy than it is about anything. And what did we think when we told women that they're going to have to work and be strong women? What did you think they were going to do? They're going to find another form of hypergamy, and Me Too is just another form of hypergamy. It's aggressive mimicry. It's that in our society that permits them to get money for free, and then because the community is not taking care of them.
You know, and it used to piss me off. I mean, it still kind of pisses me off, but then I figured out something, and I don't know if anyone in the comment section agrees with me when I say this, but when it comes to the whole Me Too thing, when it was us normal blokes getting messed with, nobody cared. But now that it's like football players and millionaires and the rich and wealthy, I'm pretty sure if women keep targeting these guys, they're gonna have to step in and figure something out because
it's just
they're losing money.
Yeah, but that's what in the 19th, after the first recession in the 20s and the 30s. They figured something out that the robber barons at that time they become the prey. So they had to end this thing and give a reasonable society to live in. And they realize that now we're going through the same thing now where they're becoming the prey and they're not appreciating it now. But that's going to further more because we got a lot more of those people now. But women they just went right to it. They made these rich men and these people worth anything the prey now. and they'll figure it out sooner or later that they're going to have to make a society worth living in. And that's where I come in. They're going to have to ask me how to do it.
What's your consulting fee?
Oh man, I want a huge. They're just going to steal my ideas anyway, sooner or later, and then try to say they made it up. That's what they do.
Yeah, and it's 12 women too. That's the thing that, like, I mean, shit, they're really laying it on them.
Oh yeah, there's more and more and more of it. Yeah, if you have anything to take, they're gonna figure out how to get it. It'll eventually boil down to the regular middle class guys too. I don't think the middle class guys. That's when they'll end it and say, okay, we need some kind of social program that we should have that like Health and Human Services that takes care of the girls so they can live and have children in a modest way. And that's what we have to get rid of. What do we have to get? We have to get rid of the divorce system. We have to get rid of the marriage system. We got to get rid of all that, and then stop letting the government classes steal everything from us.
Yeah, I mean, that idea is way better than mine because I've just been telling everyone dress down, tell women you live in an outhouse. Just
yeah, well, I don't dress up. Most of the time I wear a Carhartt jacket, and even that says like he works. You don't want to even project that anymore. That's the beard and everything says stay away from me. I'm not part of your society.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly why. Like I dress down. And one time, my cousin was making fun of me. He's like, "You really went almost a week without taking a shower." I'm like, "Yep, it keeps people away from me at the farmer's market."
Yeah, stay away from me. Yeah, if the women want to know which ones to pry on and which ones are the targets, all you got to do is look at, like, it's going to be the well-shaven ones and that goes, if they shave their armpits and their legs for you and their chest,
wow,
like, go for him. He's a simp.
Armpits? I would never even consider doing that.
Oh yeah, that's a simp, man. That's a perfect target. He wants to be a slave.
Yeah,
it's called a performing dolphin, man. Like if they want to be a performing dolphin, let them do that. I just happen to be that one seal at SeaWorld. Like I popped a balloon and just kind of took the other ball somewhere else and said, "Screw the rest of those."
I took my ball and I went home.
Like I perform for these chicks, man. If they want to,
I don't play well with others.
Do you cook? I had one chick to say to me, "Do you cook?"
Do you cook?
Yeah, for myself, maybe. I mean, fucking cooking for your ass.
Yeah, when I cook for one, usually I cook for two.
Oh man,
I mean, you ever try to cook one piece of chicken?
You gotta chop it up, man. Chicken breast, you gotta cut it up.
Yeah, I bought some the other day. They're on sale. I don't know what predicts when chicken goes on sale. Chicken breast. But once in a while, I bought the big pack, the family pack, and froze them. Yeah. That's so great at night. You just cut one of those in half and then you beat it for a little bit. Yeah. So you get a patty, and then you fry that in some olive oil and some garlic, and then, man, what a chicken sandwich you got there.
Yeah, I feel bad for these simps though. Sometimes, I mean, they're just so. They're gonna die young because they're stressed out of their minds. They've given up their lives. They've given up their souls. They don't even know who they are. They die not knowing who they even are.
Well,
wasted their life.
Dude, you saw what happened to me a few days back. That right there was the pinnacle of simpery when they all came after me. So it's just they're mad at dudes that don't date, and misery loves company with them. And I was angry because it's just everything they do. It's just sad. They're poisoning themselves and they don't even realize, and yet we're the miserable ones. Oh, don't be like them.
They want you to apologize to them because they have that addiction and they can't control their feels, and they have they're over sexualized, and they don't think they think that's normal. And it's like, I mean, I noticed, and man, I just have a friend that comes over all the time, and the first thing he does is paces my floor. That neuroticism that's in his soul from that is just, it's so noticeable, and it's just, oh God, I can't hardly take it no more.
And I would tell them, I've had friends do that before, and what you really need to do is just tell them that that crap makes you feel uncomfortable. Because one time I was smoking, man, and my god kid did some shit like that, and I told him stop,
Yeah.
and he
And you
said
can tell
why?
it's the bacteria built up from being around girls, and their hormones are off, which makes them neurotic, which makes them confused, and they don't understand that. It's just
Yeah,
stop.
they really need to stop, man, because it wasn't me just being blazed. I mean, I noticed this. He's pacing and everything. He's like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, you're making me uncomfortable. You go from room to room." I told him he makes me uncomfortable when he does
It
that.
makes you uncomfortable when
It's weird.
it tells about, like, can you sit down for 1/2 hour with your own thoughts? And a simp when you see one. He cannot do that. He can't stop and he can't sit down because his mind's on fire. There's so many hormones running around in his mind that it's just he has ambiguous thoughts, and he's just, there will be nothing that will come out of his mouth that's cohesive.
This is why they need to stop, man. I mean, it's worse. I mean, older guys, it's not so bad. People in 30s, 40s, but, well, with the exception of the idiots like that I met last week. But for younger guys, it's worse, man. They got all that hormone pumping in them and everything, and it's just, I'm happy I learned how to control that desire, because yeah, we still find women attractive.
You got it sussed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we all
Easy.
still find women attractive, but I'm not gonna jump in the train with the electric eels and everything, trying to, gotta get the girl, gotta get. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they don't understand, and America pushes that. It's the ads and the movies and everything they're taught, and like I said, the candy for the little girls at the school, and Valentine's Day and all that stuff. They feed it, and then they wonder why these boys are out of control. They wonder why that kid killed 8 Asian women at the massage parlor, why he had a sex addiction. And it's more about religion there than it is anything. He went to his church, and his church forgave him from all of his maladies, and said it was somebody else's fault. It must be somebody else's fault. Them are the sinners, not you for going there. Is them are the sinners, not taking their own, not do what a MGTOW would do a self-introspection and see what part I played in that. No, they could never do that. And well, that's what happens when Jesus forgives you for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he went on from week to week to week, and his life kept getting worse and worse and worse, and he never took responsibility for his own maladies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the feminine environment that women push, the touchy-feely thing without logic, and
without logic, yeah, it's all touchy-feely. There's Cupid, and there's these electric sparks that shoot between people. No, that's not real.
It's insane. That's why women take
the boys are neurotic.
They're using what I can only refer to as, like, I'm trying to lessen my cursing, but it's a B manual. It's a textbook female manual that women got them on, like a program, and that program's just killing them. And to the comment of Jim McIntosh, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, you would think these guys would be happy for MGTOW because we're not their competition, but I learned something. Being around women, like either dating women or just being around women at this point, you could just be a dude doing your own thing like me. It's like playing Jumanji. Once I hear the stampede, I got to pick up the board and start running, because that's what they do. They bring the whole herd with them.
Oh, yeah. What is this? Somebody's got me. Okay. Shit. Someone sent me a message. Yeah,
Was it Claire? She got a job for you?
Yeah, she got a job. I gotta go. I gotta do some spackling.
Plaster walls.
Plastering. Yeah, I gotta plaster some walls.
Yeah, London Crew's calling you.
Yeah, London Crew's calling me. Someday you'll understand her lingo, Black Wolf.
Well, I'm trying to catch up best I can. I'm always learning, so I'm happy. I use a lot of movie references. I'm a huge movie buff. My music and movie knowledge goes all the way back to the 70s, so I just kind of, that's what I do. I love music and movies.
You can't go through like like whole coronavirus lockdown and not watched all the movies.
That's what I've been doing, just binging movies and like Samurai Cub and like Ninja Scroll, like and all this really a lot of
That was
cool.
so surprising to me what I haven't seen. Like the other day, I said I'd never seen The Age of Ultron, and it's not like it's old. It's like I just never
Really?
watched it. I was like, I never seen this movie. Oh, that gives me my backstory. I was like, I had no idea about this Wanda. That's like, and her brother Pedro. It's like, who is the two people? I've never seen them.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing what you find, man. I went back and rewatched Blade Runner for the heck of it. I mean, I just sometimes
Oh,
even if I rewatch a movie, I see stuff that I didn't take notice to before.
yeah, that's one of my favorite all-time movies. His monologue at the end is heartbreaking and true, and yeah, that's a great movie of
Blade Runner. Yeah. Yeah. It was.
Yeah,
Rugger Howard. Yeah,
Yeah. Harrison Ford.
that's a good movie. I did rewatch Jumanji, and I've been making Jumanji references all day, man, in light of this whole famous thing.
I tried to watch the new one. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
It's they really they missed the magic, The
Yeah.
cast was kind of weird. The pairing, I don't think that The Rock and Kevin Hart make a good duo. Pairing them together is just weird for me. They don't link up well, and then the rest of the cast just seem to be going through the motions. So they
Right.
really,
We had to have these characters because this was social acceptable.
yeah, it's just crazy, ridiculous. They took out the danger and they reduced it to a video game. When I
Yeah.
like the original Jumanji way better, especially the beginning. Roll the dice, run! It's a stampede.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like I don't know, the writing wasn't very good either. There was just lack of writing. Well, that was me too, Guild Writers Guild. Now it's not the Writers Guild, since it's not unionized anymore, and they killed it. And you don't have to actually. The last show that was actually really well written was the Pirates of the Caribbean, like 2, and then after that, it's like that's gone.
It was just all downhill, and I used to like Marvel and DC Comics and everything, but what they're doing, I don't know if you heard about what they did with Superman. I uh I'll take the hit for this. Icon, Blue Marvel, Static, Black Lightning. I can name a lot of people that would have it would have just been better to do it that way. People got mad when I was saying, I mean, they need to stop making these recolors of all the same characters. Need to make an original
Yeah.
hero. Okay, we got a black Superman, an Asian Superman.
Oh,
We just
yeah, you got Suicide Squad coming out where they're going to have a bunch of original new, and then they're going to kill them all off.
yeah.
I tried to watch the director's cut of 1984 Wonder Woman. What was it? It's called something different, but it's a 4-hour movie. I could only do about an hour and a half last night before I realized that it was like really overly written, and it was just 1984, just written in a longer way.
Yeah, I mean, movies used to be better. I grew up reading a lot of the comic books and everything, so when they mess up a series, it just really bothers me. They ruined the Power Rangers. They killed that long time
Yeah,
ago.
they killed off the Power Rangers, and
I mean, how many more things do we love have to die? Like the Power Rangers are dead, Star Wars is dead. What next? It's Batwoman. That was crazy too.
yeah, Batwoman just went butt crazy this year. And what was it? What was the other one? Star Trek Discovery. It was so funny. It was a comedy that it was so badly written. It was so poorly written with social stuff that it was a comedy. It was an absurd comedy, is what it was this year.
Yeah, it really was, man. Like just the whole way of how they do things. I have to watch shows like Rick and Morty and a bunch of other stuff to
Yeah.
just get my head straight because they keep adding characters in there for SJW purposes instead of characters that actually matter. And it's so bad that if I was on that board, they'd fire me immediately. They'll come in and go, okay, sir, we need like 2 minority characters, a gay character, and I'll be that one guy that says, or we could just add, characters that people actually care about, regardless of race, and just kind of make good writing. I'm pretty sure someone's going to turn to me and go, yeah, fire that guy.
The final space is coming out. That was pretty good written. It was okay. It was actually a really good cartoon, Final Space. But they're going to end up having to kill off Gary.
Yeah.
And replace him with a strong girl.
Gary has it coming.
Yeah, Gary's got it coming. That's going to come out. Well, that should be out yesterday, shouldn't it? Night the 16th, I thought it was starting. I'll have to check on that. Or maybe it's the 26th. Okay, we've been going 2 hours and 19 minutes. That's about my time. What was the topic today?
Oh, I don't know. I guess honor codes and
moral
restraints
and male honor codes. Why we give females moral latitude.
I think it all correlates well because a lot of people may agree or disagree to this, but be it movies or comic books or anime or whatever, these have those morals in them. There are tons of things that are constantly pumping out be a good person. The problem is people don't apply them. They don't apply the lessons that are taught to them. What they do is they take a damn it all approach, and that's why I say when you're a kid you idolize the heroes, but then when you get older you sympathize with the villains.
Yeah, that goes back to what we were saying to the people now today's side, the sociopaths figure out how to pay two sides against the middle now. And one side doesn't have, men don't have a power anymore, and the police protect the criminals. And that's how it's going to be until someone wakes up and we start developing a society that actually works instead of is some kind of weird socially correct. And with that, I think I'm going to shut this thing down. I'm starting to get tired, and I still got some kitchen work to do. I got to wash my dishes.
That's sharpen your knives.
Let's see. I got to sharpen up on my knives. I bought the Prairie Woman's knife sharpener. That's funny. You ever see that thing, the Prairie Woman's knife? It's like, that is cute. It's like, an oil stone doesn't work, huh? Oh, man. Okay, with that, I'm going to start shutting this thing down. And thanks, everybody, for showing up. Hey, Joe Buddy. Hey, Warwick. Hey, Jim McIntosh, Black Wolf, Jigsaw, Eric Wingard, Joe Buddy. I said his name twice. And all the other guys that showed up to visit us. Forrest, hello, Flores. And Soothie was here today. I didn't say hello to Sooth and Hank the Man and Prune Juice Power and everybody like Solitude. What is his name? Solitude something. Solitude for is profit, and everybody that shows up. Thanks for coming around, and thanks for being MGTOW, and most of all, just thanks for being MGTOW, man. You guys got anything else you want to say?
Well, I mean, my last words are be safe. Look into prepping. I mean, I'm a prepper. I strongly urge every man listening to this to it's not too late. Do what you can to get the hell out of Dodge. Get out of the city because it's not a place you want to be right now. Yeah,
that's prepping is knowledge. Just have the knowledge to know how to filter your own water if you need to, and it's learn the plants and vegetables around your area and learn how to grow something and learn how to filter your own water, and you'll be okay. Joy?
No, just thanks for the podcast, and I just hope everyone has a good weekend, and I think we'll be back on hopefully Sunday. What do you think? Possibly.
Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Hopefully.
tomorrow even. You never know.
Yeah. Hope to see everyone then.
Okay. And with that, thanks for coming around and thanks for being MGTOW. MGTOWs.